Good morning, Year 5. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all safe, doing okay. We're already halfway through the week. Can't quite believe how quickly the days seem to be going. This video then adding and subtracting fractions reminder, as we've noticed that some of you are struggling a bit here. So we're going to quickly go through that and then looking at your eSchools area sheet for your next stage of learning. Shout outs though, particularly to Sam and Olivia, who did an amazing rap about coronavirus. This is a picture from the rap. If you haven't seen it, then log on to our Twitter on Year 5 and you will be able to watch it there. Also, Patrick here, but the rest of you that have managed to get Golden Awards this week, if you do get a Golden Award, please do tweet us a picture with them so we can put it all over Twitter and we can share your celebration. Now, as of yesterday, Tuesday at 3 p.m, 5CP were in the lead, 6,445 compared to 4,363 for 5A. So yes, 5CP doing really well, although I think it is going to be very close still on Friday. Particular shout outs to the top 3 in each class. So Finn and Layla first place for their classes, Sam and Lucas second place for their classes, Amelia and Grace third place for their classes. But obviously all the children that are going on, really well done. But see if you can get even higher, see if you can beat and get onto the podium for first, second and third place. So I look forward to seeing those results on Friday. Okay, so adding and subtracting fractions then. Well, you've got questions like this in your Maths Week 25 sheet. Remember your steps to success, please. You can't add and subtract these fractions. You need to have a lowest common denominator. And to do that, you need to find the lowest common multiple. So you write out your 4s, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and you write out your 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Finding that lowest common denominator. Well, we know then it's going to be 20, isn't it? Okay, so I need to rewrite these fractions with a denominator now of 20. Well, how do I get from 4 to 20? I times by 1, 2, 3, 4, times it by 5. So I must also times the top number, the numerator, by 5 as well. So 3 times 5 is 15. Now, I have converted this 5 here to 20 as well. So how do I get from 5 to 20? What have I times by 5? 1, 2, 3. I've times it by 4. So I must also remember to times my numerator by 4 as well. So 2 times by 4 is 8. Now that I've got the same denominators, I can add them together. 15 add 8 is 23 out of 20, which is fine, but it's top heavy. It's what we call an improper fraction. So I can make that again into a mixed number. How many 20s go into 23? 1 with 3 out of 20 left. So it's 1 and 3/20. Another one then. Well, this one starts with a mixed number and then it has a normal fraction there, a unit fraction as we call it. So we need to convert this mixed number 1 and 1/5 into an improper fraction. Well, I've got 1 whole split into fifths plus an extra fifth. How many fifths have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that converts to 6/5, and I'm taking away 2/3. Same again, issue, we haven't got the same denominators. 5, 10, 15, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh, there it is. Lowest common denominator then is 15. How do I get from 6 to 15? Times by 3. Don't forget to times your numerator by 3, so it's going to be 18 15ths. If you don't times your numerator by 3 as well, or whatever the number is, it is not going to be equivalent. Okay, how do I get from 3 to 15? I times by 5, so what am I going to do to my numerator? Times it by 5, 2 5s are 10, so take away 10 15ths. 18 take away 10 is 8 out of 15, and that would be my final answer. And then some of you have got questions that look like this. Same thing again. I've got 2 whole split into quarters plus an extra quarter. So I've got 4, 8, 9 quarters. So that converts to that as an improper fraction. Adding a fifth to it. Find your lowest common denominator, which in this case would be 20. Okay, so I'm converting that to 20. And I'm adding that one over 20. How do I get from 4 to 20? Times by 5. How do I get from 5 to 20? Times by 4. Okay, so 9 fives, 45. 4 times 1 is 4. Add those together, 49 out of 20. How many? That's improper, so convert it back to a mixed number. How many 20s go into 49? It's 2. With what's left, 9 out of 20. Okay, and that would be your final answer. Now, some of you just quickly as well are also struggling with questions like this, and when we're ordering with your homework. Can I just remind you, the easiest way is to convert it to a decimal. So first of all, talk about the fraction 1/5. What's 1/5 as a fraction? Well, convert it to a decimal. It's 100% split into 5 groups. So that would be 20%, which is the same as 0.20. So this 2 1/5 is 2.20. 2 1/4. Well, again, we've got 100% split into 4. So divide that by 4 is 25%, which is the same as 0.25. So 2 1/4 is the same as 2.25. 2 1/8, well, it's 100% split into 8 groups. So we do 100 divided by 8. That's a divide, by the way. And then that's 12.5. So as a decimal, it's 0.125, because to get from a decimal to a percentage, we times by 100, or to get from a percentage to a decimal, we divide by 100. So 12.5 divided by 100 is 0.125. So 2 1/8 would be 2.125. And then obviously you can order them now that they are in decimal form rather than looking at the fractions. Okay. Now, some of you have got questions that look like this on your area sheet on eSchools. How many rows are there? There are 2 rows, so I put a 2 in there. Each row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 squares. So there are 8 squares altogether, because remember, we do 2 times by 4. So 2 times by 4 means this has an area of 8, and you can count those squares. We do know there is 8 in there. So quite straightforward, that one. Then you've got questions like this. Well, if it's a square, remember that each side is the same. So we would do 6. We know that's 6 because it's a square. 6 squared is 36 centimetres squared. So that would be the area of A. The area of B is the same as the area of A. It says that in the question. So we know then that if this is 9, we know that the area is 36. We need to do the inverse because we're working out this side. So we would do 36 divided by 9, which is 4. So if I do 4 times by 9, that does give me 36, so I've got it correct. And you'd do the same on C. Now then, some of you have got questions that look a bit like this. Remember to get your 2 colours out and do all the ones going in the same direction. I'm not doing this part here because that is part of, this is a compound shape. It's one shape joined together. So I've done those in that colour. Green, green, green. I have got some missing sides that I need to work out. So if I know that this is 2 and this is 7, in total along here then is 9. So if this is 2, this part, then this part here is also 2, which means this part here is 7 again. And then going down, if this part here is 3, there and all the way down, the whole long side here is 5. What do I add to 3 to get to 5? Well, I add 2, so that's 2 centimetres there. Then it says work out the area of rectangle A. Well, the area of rectangle A, remember we need to times numbers that are at a right angle. I'm going to go all the way down here, so that's that 5, and I'm going to go all the way along here, so I'm going to do 5 times by 2, which is 10. So the area is 10 centimetres squared for this one. Area of B, well, I'm going to go all the way along here. It's not 9 because 9 is that whole red line. Okay, I'm only going to do the part I need, which is just this part, which is then 7. So I'm going to do 7 times by, how many do I go down? I go down 3 for this rectangle. So 7 times 3, which is 21 centimetres squared. Well, then that gives me a total area. If this part here is 10, that's 21. That gives me 31 centimetres squared. Okay, moving on. What's this area then? Well, the same thing again. Put your colours on so you know which parts you need to work out. Make sure they go in the same direction. Right, this missing side here, this is the longest side. If this bit's 3 and this bit's 6, this missing side must be 9 because we're going to add those two together. If this missing side going down here is 12, if that side's 12 and we've got this part here is 5, what do I add to 12 to get to 5? Well, I add 7 meters. That should be. So then I've got all the sides I need. Now I need to work out the area. I can't do it all in one go because it's a compound shape. I need to split it. So I'm going to split it there. You could also split it there. Doesn't matter which way you do it, but I'm going to split it there. I'm going to call this part 1. I'm going to call this part 2. Okay, so I need to work out then the area of part 1 first. Well, how many along is this part? It's 6. How many high is it? It's 12. So 6 times by 12 is the area of part 1, which is 72 meters squared. Now I'm going to do the area of part 2. How many along is this part? It's 3. How many high is it? It's 5. So I'm going to do 3 times by 5. Remember, you're always multiplying numbers at a right angle, which is 15 meters squared. And then to get the total of all of the shape, I add them together, 87 meters squared. Okay? Now this part looking slightly complicated, but again, you just need to split it into 3 parts this time. If I call that part 1, that part 2, and this part 3, and then you might need to find out some other information as well to work them out, but you would do the same again. If I know this part here is 2 and that's 4, and this length down here is 7, 4, 5, 6, that must be 1 kilometre. So I've then got the 2 numbers I need to work out that area of shape 1. 6 times by 1 is 6, so that's the area, 6 kilometres squared of this one. Part 2, how many down is it? Only 4, not all the way, only 4. And then if I know that this part here is 6 and this part here is 4, this part must be 2 because 4 add 2 is the total along there. So I would do 4 times by 2, which is 8 kilometres squared for that part, and then 4 times by 2, which is 8 kilometres squared for that part. So then I can add all those together to get my total area. Okay, we've got a slightly different question. It's asking us to work out the perimeter, but it tells us the area. And if I need to know the perimeter, I need to know these missing sides that we've got along here. So I'm going to split my shape down here. I'm going to call this shape 1 and this shape 2 to be able to work out the areas. Well, the area of shape 1 is going to be 12 times by 4 because they're at a right angle. 12 times 4 is 48 centimetres squared. Now to work out then what this area needs to be, I need to take away 48 from my total area. 13 take 8 is 5, which is 35. Okay, so I know the area of shape 2 is 35 centimetres squared. And now then, well, if I know this part here is 7, this part must be 5. Okay, because 7 and 5 makes 12. Well, what then is question mark here? This length going to be along there. Well, what do I times 5 by to get to 35? I times it by 7. So this blue part must be 7 here. Now, have I got all the information I need? Oh, I'm missing one more side along there, but that's fine because it's the same as this one and this one. If that's 7 and that's 4, then that must be 11. 7 and 4 is 11. And then I can add up all my sides that I've got in order to work out the perimeter. Remember, if I say perimeter, you say plus. So you just have to add them. Okay, right, reminders then. Area sheet is on eSchools now. Please make sure you do it. Doodle and Times Table Rockstars on its own is not a maths education. You need to do the sheets and the My Maths that we're setting you as well. Maths Week 25 is due on Friday, as is the area sheet. It's on eSchools. If you haven't started it yet, I'd be a little bit concerned. There's a lot to do. English, we've had lots of great pieces of writing already in. Well done to those of you who've got it in already. But it's due in on Friday. You can send it to us as a Word document or you can type it to us on eSchools, whatever. We don't really mind, but please get it to us by Friday. Remembering all those steps to success you need to get in. Reading, eSchools, unless you have a Lexia account, in which case we can see you doing Lexia. But again, send it to us on the PowerPoint, send it to us on the Word document, whatever it is you're doing it on. But please send it to us by Friday on eSchools. Please remember TT Rockstars. That battle is going. 5CP. Come on, I want to win. And please remember Doodle as well. So enjoy the next few days. I'm in school today. It will be weird being in without you being there. But the next video is on Friday when I summarise the week. Have a fantastic few days and I will hopefully see you all soon. Stay safe.